House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi catching heat for these comments about the economy under President Trump.
Hip, hip, hooray, unemployment is down. What does that mean to me in my life? I need a bigger paycheck. This isn't just about the unemployment rate. It's about wages rising in our country so that consumer confidence is restored.
Senator Bernie Sanders also lashing out against the president.
Trump campaigned, he said, you remember this, I will not cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Believe me, I'm not Paul Ryan. That's what he said. His budget, $1 trillion cut in Medicaid proposal, $500 billion in Medicare, massive cuts in education, nutrition programs. He's going to war against working people.
So, Jesse, if new Fox News poll out shows President Trump, I think, at 44, which might be at their highest. He's been in that poll. And the key driver for the president is handling of the economy. There you see it on the screen. I think it was 52%. So what do you make of the fact that leading Democrats, Pelosi, Sanders, others, are like, well, what about wages?
What about wages, Juan? I remember just the other day you said something about wages being flat under this president.
Yeah, I think it's 0.3%.
Nope, that would be 2.9%,
no.
Close to 3%, and that is the fastest rise in wage growth since 2009.
What are you talking about?
And it's my pleasure to fact check you.
Yeah.
Also, consumer confidence.
0.3 is the last thing I saw on wages.
I'm talking about since he's been president, wages have been up close to 3%.
Okay. All right.
And that's a fact. So, also consumer confidence, it is an 18-year high. So I don't know what Pelosi's talking about. When you combine that with, oh, whoop-de-doo, the jobless numbers are down, and crumbs, and MS-13, they have a spark of dignity inside them. Those are just made-to-order Republican ads. Gutfeld was laughing in the break about it. I mean, she could not cut a better ad for the Republicans than she has so far. Nancy? We love you.
So, Kimberly,
yes.
Bernie Sanders says this is a war on working people being waged by the president who wants to. He said he would never cut Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. But in fact, his budgets look intent on doing just that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Bernie Sanders has been having too many, cafeteria lunches with Nancy Pelosi because both of them seem to be getting kind of confused. But it's actually their comments are really only helping to motivate the president's base. And when you look at the numbers, I mean, it just flies in the face of their illogical comments and statements. When you see an economy that's booming like this, you see that women, minorities, blacks, all more engaged in the economy. You see the numbers in terms of jobs available, record low unemployment. This is something that America wanted. This is why he was elected. And you see here somebody like Nancy Pelosi seems completely out of touch, doesn't make any sense, one gaffe after the next. If that's the future, right, of the Democratic Party, they're in big trouble going into the midterm elections and going into 2020. That's the problem. When you look at this right now, people are saying, look, this is something that's sustainable in terms of economic growth. The Democrats are out of talking points, but they're not out of gaffes.
So, Dana, again, going back to the polling, what you see coming from Pelosi is an argument that when people don't have wages, they can't afford health care. They can't pay the high cost of prescription drugs. They can't pay for their kids to go to college. Are we seeing the evolution here of the Democrats' messaging for
I think that this is consistent across the board. It's not like she's making gaffes.
Right.
Okay, they are actually spending money on ads in their primaries that are saying the same thing. So something is telling them, either their polling or their focus groups are telling them that this message works for their particular voters. And one of the things about this that the Republicans just need to be a little bit concerned about is that the president's numbers are better, the generic ballot is better, but the Democrats are highly motivated to register new voters. I didn't know this until the other day. In the Virginia election for the gubernatorial race last November, more Republicans turned out to vote than in the history of the country in Virginia. And still Ed Gillespie lost by 9 points. One of the things that happened is 12% of the voters in that election had never voted in a gubernatorial election before. So the Democrats are very good at figuring out where to go and register new voters and getting them to the polls. No matter what the economic results are, they can get their people to the polls more than Republicans, then they could actually squeak out a win in November.
Sounds like voter fraud.
Amen.
By the way, Dana, in the Fox poll now, it's back to +9 for the Democrats in terms of generic preference. So, you know, Greg, I was looking at the polls, And it's, you know, of course, people who like President Trump say the economy is their #1 reason for liking President Trump. So I said, what are people, because he's still underwater, it's 45% approve, 51% disapprove. So I said, well, why would people disapprove of a president that Greg and Jesse and Kimberly love so much? So I thought I would
and
look.
Dana.
And it says, oh, Dana, oh, please.
Is there a question coming
yes.
up at this point?
So #1, he doesn't
a
know what he's
monologue.
doing.
What?
Is the #1 reason that people disapprove. #2, he doesn't have the temperament for the job. #3, he's divisive and racist. What do you say, Greg?
I say that
likability.
I think you just tried to pose a question that you wanted to express your own opinions within.
No.
Look, you know you're losing. Democrats are losing when you're mocking low unemployment.
Right.
Last week, okay, so this
nuts.
week you're mocking low unemployment. Last week you were defending MS-13.
Right.
What's next week, Nancy? What are you going to do? Come out in favor of measles? I mean, I'm sure when they show her,
Yeah.
the California leader, the pictures of those homeless encampments under overpasses in California, she calls them California condos. You know, this is a party where Stormy is now their Mother Teresa. You guys are in trouble.
It's big trouble.
All
Sounds
right.
terrible.